Hello, everybody. This is Frogman. Welcome back to FTB Skies. Last episode, we talked a little bit about how much silliness I decided I had to build off camera without anybody being around. And again, I do apologize, but it was kind of one of those I just had to get it out of my head. Once you start learning a new mod or start figuring things out, this is the kind of stuff that really makes me. I mean, if you watch my Manufacturio series, as you know that this is the kind of stuff that absolutely drives me up the wall and makes me enjoy playing modded Minecraft. So, given that this is just a kind of an open pack, you can do it however you want to. There's really no end goal or no challenges, or I mean, I guess there's a challenge towards the end of it, but whatever. This is just the kind of the fun things that this is how I think modded should be, or at least this is how, like, if you're going to progress through into a little bit heavier deal with vanilla, that there should be some kind of a machine that looks kind of like this. Now, granted, there's some stuff like, well, these are, I love it. They're cheap. They're amazing. And I mean, if for no other reason, I want to include Create in every pack that I have from now on, just because of how cheap these redstone links are and how absolutely powerful they are. But it's just kind of a fun thing. I'm not trying to do a tutorial on Create. I'm just trying to have a little bit of fun, kind of like what you do when you first pick up something, and it's just kind of the way things go. So we may, in the eventualness, work this out a little bit faster. Those two, or I think we could mine them a little bit faster with the block breakers, and I should put them down there and kind of play with them. But again, for right now, I'm trying to do everything with the single mod that we can do and just see how much stuff we can get into. I understand, I know that this is a kind of we're using another mod to do a couple other things, but I'm doing what I can not to use the pedestals, and those were our other options as far as that's concerned. So I'm spending power and resources to do some stuff. Now, I did actually, for the next step that we're going to be looking at here in a little bit, think of using the pedestals, because pedestals are going to be able to do some of what we're going to do automatically without having to automate anything, because what we need to kind of look at is getting after making consistent and constant power for that, as well as what I figure we're probably going to do for the base as well. So since it's getting ready to be dark, let's go take a nap, and then we're going to pop down here. So we've kind of been goofing around with this, and it's one of those things. I've not done this in a long time, and that's play with Industrial Foregoing's bioreactor, or what it however many times this mod has been rebuilt. I think the last time I built a base around the bioreactor and a biofuel generator setup would have been probably back when it was Mine Factory or Mine Factory Reloaded. It's been forever. So I figured, since we're going to kind of try to do something silly with how we're going to make this thing feed, we can talk about this as far as a power solution. So a bioreactor running at 100% efficiency means that it makes I think it's like a bucket and a half of fluid per whatever you put in here. Some of the things are better than others. I think there's a recipe button in here. If not, here we can do it like this. Bioreactor. This one right here. I think everything in here makes about the same amount of stuff. So as long as you have something in there, I don't want that. We're going to talk about that in a second. As long as you have something in here, and as long as you can get all 9 slots filled, it'll run at 100% efficiency and make a massive pile of biofuel with a little bit of water, which is really, really, really cool. And we can add some upgrades to this, I believe, to make it run faster, or I think there's even some efficiency stuff as far as industrial. There we go. There's upgrades, add-ons, so tier ranges, speed tiers, processing tiers. I think we can make things go faster, and I think that's just about as far as those go. So we can make this work a lot better. According to the wiki, and you guys, depending on how much you listen to or understand or care about wikis, these things can power up to 28 of these at 100% efficiency, which this biofuel reactor or biofuel generator will burn a reasonable amount of fuel and produce 160 RF a tick for a single block. And again, they're not all that expensive. Click on the button. They're still not all that expensive. So they're what I would consider, as long as you can feed this a reasonable amount of stuff, we can definitely do a few things. So I'm going to get to work on that. I need to go downstairs because I see 2 things downstairs that I'm interested in, and I think I know what they are. All right. Anyhow, we can ignore those for later. So, as I said, what we need to do is we need to figure out a way to feed this so that it'll continue to work. And again, I kind of think what we'll probably do with base for a while. I mean, I don't know how much more stuff we're going to play with. I mean, how much more stuff? How much more we're going to be doing with create before we're going to start caring about power. And create does have the ability to make power. So, if I look at an alternator, this right here, this will generate RF given what's going on. If we hit the ponder button, basically what it does is it requires, again, we can just let the thing say what it does. Now, I've fiddled with this a little bit. What's neat about this is it also allows you to build an electric motor so that you can then take the RF that you get and turn it into force using, power or whatever. So it's really kind of neat. It's not something that you could play with because I think the loss is kind of different. But anyhow, if we need to, we'll play with that. We have plenty and plenty of generational stress units up there that we could seriously make a lot of power out of it. But they don't make a lot of power. I think it was like the most I saw was 80 RF a tick or more playing around with my general testing. So I want to kind of play again with another mod that we're going to kind of goof around, but we're going to automate it with create. So given all that, now that we've talked a little bit too long once again, let's get to work. I'm going to put some of this junk in my inventory away that I don't currently need right now, although I think we need the dirt. Did I put the dirt in here? I didn't put the dirt in here. And I guess you go ahead and eat this. Basically, all I've been doing over the last however many hours of playing is just periodically coming down here, burning a bunch of bone meal and doing a couple other things because I've kind of already had this built 2 or 3 times in my head, and now we get to kind of try to figure out how to make it work. I don't want you. Go away. We'll keep the blocks. I don't need any more sticks. This can go away. I don't think you're going to need that either, so let's just go ahead and grab this box, and those can get put away. We don't need those right now. So again, for those of you that don't know what we're going to do, if you take a piece of double tall flour, at least for right now, what we're going to play with is a double tall flour. If you take a double tall flour and you hit it with a piece of bone meal, it will drop itself. And then if you take this and you put it into a millstone, you're going to get 3 die with a chance of 2 more dies plus a chance of getting this third. Now, I understand there is a better way to do this, and that is going to be the mechanical squeezer. I've had enough fun with mechanical squeezers, and they're going to be using a little bit of our power to make this work. Plus, they have to automate out of the bottom of it. What we're going to automate here is going to automate out of the sides and the top, which is what I kind of want to work with. Plus, again, if I don't need to use power, I want to use that. So I brought some rotational service down. We may have to run some other stuff over, but we're going to kind of look at it with the fun stuff, which is playing with the mechanical arms finally. So in order to access any other machine, and we can talk about the arms, they're a little odd, and I'll say it just like this. In order to make an arm work, we'll grab a depot, and I'll grab one of these, and we'll just put it right there. An arm will only interact with inventories and stuff from the create mod. It will not interact with a chest, a hopper, or other things. If I want to be able to say I need to tell an arm to do something, I have to click on the thing with the arm in my hand to where it says, see how it says take items from depot. If I click it again, it will place items into the depot. So like say I want to move things from this depot to that brass funnel, which is going to point downward, which means it's going to push things wherever it needs to go. And then I place it, and then the stuff goes away. So that if I decide I wanted to run a very down and dirty belt over here, so if we do, let's get us a little teeny tiny amount of power here very quickly. Where is my toolbox? Another little fancy thing I found we're going to have to play with and talk about as we go. But let's get us just a little bit of rotational power over here really quickly. And do this, and then I should have a belt laying around. Thank you. And we can connect this to there, so that now turns. So if I place something like this rose bush on that depot, and this thing had a place to put this, it would pick that up and put it in here. So let's grab us a chest, and we'll put this right here, and I want one of those. downwards. You come with me once again. You pick up, you deposit, and it should pick that up and put it in there. Now they've got a pretty reasonable reach, and they do a reasonably okay job as far as moving things around. But this is one of those kinds of deals where you can have a little bit of fun doing things the hard way or whatever. There's many ways we could be doing this. What we're going to do is we're going to start by understanding that it will not interact with a chest or a machine without having one of these brass funnels on it. So this, I don't want to put it on the side. I'm going to put it on top just because I can. So we've got all of our stuff out of the way, and I want to be able to access the top of the machine. Now here we're just going to use a big funnel with a wide open filter because it's going to need to be able to access a lot of it, and it may want to take quite a few things at once. Then we're going to kind of step backwards, and the way I've kind of figured out with a lot of this stuff is figure out where you're going to be pulling things from. So I want to try to keep it in the chunk. So we're going to do something kind of like this. I'm going to place this arm down now so that I know where it goes. And then I'm going to place the next arm down behind it. So we're going to have two arms doing the work. The thing we're going to do is we're going to start by feeding this thing first. So I want you know what? Let's just see if it'll do this. That way we've got nice big room to watch it work. And I need to keep those a little bit further apart from each other. So we will do here and here and here, and give me those here. Something kind of like that. Now, the reason why we're going to use depots is because I want to use these millstones that we're going to use the system as an inventory, and of course the only way to get some of this stuff out is to do certain things like so. I want to use these as the inventory that we are going to monitor to do the work. So then we're going to put a brass funnel on those with the thing pointed out that direction, and a brass funnel down, and a brass funnel down. Come on, give me the stuff that way. Now, the reason why we're going to do this is because I want to monitor this stuff, and I know it's going to be one of these things. I'm going to get silly about this. This thing can easily blow up in our faces if we're not very careful as to how we do this, because this is going to produce a lot, and a lot of dyes, and a lot of dyes very well, not reasonably quickly. As fast as we input the bone meal to the machine, I should say, is how fast we're going to end up with dyes. So I want to do something kind of like this, if I can get the... Sometimes they place a little crappily, but we can do that. There you go, and no. You do this. Now, this is going to allow us to filter what goes into those, and that way this will understand where we want to put things. The point, I might just back these guys up a little bit, but anyhow. So again, we've got our filters. Let's just say we've got our filters now, so we're going to set filters. You're going to be a rose bush. You're going to be a lilac. Oh, do that lilac, and then we can take the peonies and the sunflowers, and you can go there. Nope, 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 nope. Wipe that. Go away. Thank you. Up there. And what was left? Peony? There we go. Okay. So that means what we can do now is we can train the first hand here to do what it needs to do. Can I have you, please? You are going to pick from here, 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 and here, and deposit there. That's what you're going to do. Now we need to tell this guy where to come from. Well, we're going to put this back here so we have a little bit of room. If I grab this one, and I say, you're going to pick up from here and then deposit there, 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 and there. And I hope, nope, 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 nope. I screwed up. There, there, and there. So it said it should be able to hit every one of those. So if I pick this up again, let's just do this again. Here, 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 here. So we can see everything. It's in the middle. It didn't yell at us. It's all happy. That means it's capable of reaching all of those funnels and that. That means all we got to do is power all this and include some method for doing the next step. Next step is we're going to use a cyclic item collector behind us, except it pointed the wrong way. Give me this back. Like so, to do some of this silliness. And I'm going to roll this down to, like, I think a 4, something like this. Maybe not that big. Let's go one more. Something about that big. That'll be fine. Okay, cool. Turn that on. We're going to set this to requires redstone so that it's not going to aggravate the ever-loving heck out of me, except we're going to turn this back on so I can see where I go. I want to try to do a little bit more automation here. And what we're going to do is the automation's not going to probably make the most sense until it works. Anyhow, we're going to do one there, one there, one there, and one there with the dirt that we're going to play with, something about like so, and then I'm going to do like this with our dispensers. And I'm just going to put the dispensers up here because that way the pipe run from wherever they got to go is a lot closer and they can come up here this direction. Nice. Okay. Then we can place our flowers down and shut this off. All right, cool. Now, I'm just doing that direction because it's going to be easier to maintain. Plus, that should, again, not be too much of a royal pain in the tail to kind of mess with. Again, we're going to use some kind of a redstone signal to be able to pop these guys as we go. So if I take a redstone clock and I place it right here in the middle, and we wait on it, turn the duration down, sure, and then we'll do something like 20, and then power is fine. Now, this is why I'm concerned about it, because you can hear it go tick, 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 tick. That means every time it ticks, it's going to make that much redstone, or like that much dye. So I'm going to go ahead and see if I can get in here maybe and put one of those on that so it shuts up. Those will be on all the time. Now, if we do a little bit of goofing here, since we've got all these set up, what we can do is per block, where did I put them? Are they in my box? They're in my box over here. Per block, I can do 1, 2, 3, 4, and that should leave that thing alone. It shouldn't really matter. And then we can do 1, 2, and where's my stockpiles? Doink, doink, 3, 4. So that all I have to do now is, okay, so that's a peony, correct, or the lilac. We can place a lilac here, and this is a rose bush here, and then we run over here and we do, what did we do? You are the sunflower, wherever that went. Oh, it's over here. Right, I only have one. Give me one of those. So, sunflower, and then, what was left? Sunflower, and then the peony there. So these are going to be the transmitters. These are going to transmit when things are going to go. And for what it's worth, I'm going to say this needs to be like, say, 10%, and we'll do 80 on every one of them. I don't care what they say. I just want to say 10% and 80. And then what we can do over here, those are going to be the receivers. So we need to make sure they're set to receive mode, which is the little white thingy on top. Click, click. These will be the transmitters. So again, just the flower. And you can do this. Down. And let's see, lilac, down. Okay. Now technically, all we have to do now is run a little bit of belt power to these two guys and these 4 millstones. And then we should be able to do some silly stuff. So let me get that figured out. Okay, so I think we've got it all set up the way it needs to go. Again, it's just kind of doing this stuff, and these guys should be reasonably populated with this kind of thing. I think I can put like I'll worry about that. I really don't care. Again, if we can manage to use that much stuff in that amount of time, it is what it is. Not really worried about it. For that matter, we could even autocraft this stuff and put it into the system over here and let it work. So one of the things we did need to do is make sure we make one of these so we can make sure that thing does not pick up the wrong stuff. So I want it to pick up just rose bushes, lilacs, peonies, not all of them, and a sunflower. For now, that's all we're going to do. I know that's not going to get it up very well as far as good usable efficiency, but for now, all I care about is that. So that should mean that if we once we turn this on, these will start ticking. And I may even probably move that lever somewhere else so that I can get to it a little easier than that. But theoretically, this should control itself. Once we turn these on, once we hook this stuff up, this should control itself. So if we go like this, and I put another one over here, and I'm going to run it on the base speed. Base speed should be more than fast enough to make this whole system work. So to test, I have, well, a few flowers in my inventory. And you need the one thing that I did forget, which is a brass funnel. Go to work. You'll grab that and put it where it's supposed to go. Then that'll grind it up. That one will pick it up and put it into that funnel. What? I do not like that funnels do that. That'll just eventually, slowly over time, work that out. So if we go over here and we turn this switch on and we shut our magnet off and get out of the way, yeah, we're gonna. This is where the fun is gonna be, because we're gonna have to do a little bit of tuning on the speed. We don't need it to be this fast. Let's go. Let's do 40. Maybe even a little slower than that. Cool. Now we're processing all 4, and they'll eventually work this out to the point that those will stack up in there nicely. So if I do this, he's grabbing his stuff, putting it where it belongs. This processes it, turns it into the 3 things it'll get. I may have to make another, we may have to add another location for this to be able to drop those secondary dyes, but theoretically, these will be just fine. So they're showing the stockpile that's there, and given the way that that should work, I didn't want to do that. Dang it. Can I put this in here, or are you already full? Go ahead. This will slowly, as it can accumulate things, put in there. These will drop the stuff out as they go. And I'm going to sit here and watch this for a little while and make sure it does what it's supposed to do. Because as this does what it does, it should just pull these out of here, drop things down. And again, this is going to be where the problem comes into. Once these fill up, we'll have some excess storage space here. This should continue to stuff things in there until it's full, which is why I'm leaving these set at like, well, 80%. I might even scoot this back a little bit further down. But technically, we may need to put a couple of more funnels down. So you can reach to there. I wonder if it can reach to right here. If that's the case, I may need to move the power about. Whatever. I'm going to let it run for a little bit, but yeah, I think we're going to have to add another set of funnels so that we can get that secondary color out, and that means I'm going to have to pick this one up and start over again. Alrighty, I think we might actually have it finally. That took a little bit of fooling around. I don't know if these are going to work. I'm going to have to play with them a little bit to see, because I think they're not quite reading exactly what I was thinking they were going to read. But we'll have to see. They look to be doing what we want to do. So we're now, I went ahead and just added some more funnels in so that we could sort the secondary inventory out to the side, so that they're doing what they're supposed to be doing. But it looks like now we at least have a reasonable amount of stuff. And of course, our fuel is nice and full. So once these all backstuff, or at least once they get to the point they can't put anything in them, how much is it right now? So you're 65 yellow dye and a whole bunch of sunflowers. I'm assuming, oh crap, I did it again. Dang it. Okay, so that all appears to be working, I suppose. We're going to have to see how this all does. Again, some of this is not going to exactly work because... Okay, so you're down. You shouldn't make any more there. Is that one on over here? That one's on. I'd forgotten I needed to make sure that the things are over here first. And I may have to, you know, fiddle with this a little bit to get it to work a little better. So you'll do that. You can go back in here. Technically, once those turn on, like, this should just go away eventually. Which one's still on? That one. How short are you for stuff? This may just require me to kind of babysit it for a little bit and see how it's going to work. So everybody should be off now. And we are full up and cannot make any more fluid at this point. Now, again, the problem is likely going to end up being right here, where I'm going to have to maybe go ahead and make another couple of funnels, and then change where this one can reach from, just so that it can kind of continuously have access to all the stuff. But by doing this, that got rid of the problem in here, and it looks like we've managed to hit a point. I went and changed these to 15 and 10, so I might move this down a little bit more, I might not, but that should sit there and do the work for right now. Again, this is a very much work in progress. We're going to see how this all works, and whether or not it's going to work, I don't know. We shall see. It's doing what it needs to do. So what I want to go do now is make, like, I don't know, 6 or 7 more of those things maybe. So biogenerator, which I think we can do this. 6, and then I need a bunch of pistons. Okay. How many pistons do we have right now? I want a bunch of those. Whoop, too many. Who cares? No big deal. And let's see how much we can do. Can we make any of them at all? We're short a bunch of pistons. Okay, fine. That's what I was worried about. Make a bunch of pistons. If we can. And then make a few of these. All right, there's all 6 of the ones that I want. I was going to say 7, but I think we'll start with that. Oop, wrong button. And then this can just nastily wrap either direction, so... Did I make the wrong thing? No, I didn't. They just look weird. Okay, cool. And then there, that's a bunch of power. All I need now is my stuff, so I need these. You go over like this and start going to work. And you... Where are the power RF thingies? Do I run out of them? Where did I put them? I know I still have some. There they are. There we go. There's a little bit of power, finally. And all I'm going to do is make sure they're turned on. Cool. So that should drain some of this, and that got rid of all that. These are going to sit here and slowly charge up their meter and use fuel, which is fine, but theoretically this should be able to keep up with those, as well as keeping our blaze burners happy. And all we got to do is just make sure that this does what it's supposed to do. So occasionally we'll have a really good efficiency, and occasionally we'll just have this much efficiency. So as it figures out what it needs to figure out and put in things, it should work. And I think, do love this glove. It's quite fun. That should do the trick for the moment. So I'm, again, going to sit here and watch this for a little bit, put some of my stuff away, maybe make another one. I don't know what I'm doing. I need to make sure I put those in my toolbox. You, store all, thank you. What else did I have in there that I didn't need? Anyhow, I need to clean that thing up. Anyway, whoop, wrong. That didn't work. Jump through the hole. Fine. Awesome. Okay, which also means I can then hook this back up and start using this again to make it do a few things. Which I might do that over here, right here, off camera, while I wait on this. So I will see you guys in a little bit. Okay, so we've been playing here, kind of watching it do things for a little bit, and I've done a little bit more tuning. Again, this is going to be one of those things where, you've never done it, you don't know if it's going to work or not. So I've done a small amount of tuning again over here. I've set all of these sides to 2, or, basically 2. 2 seems to work the best for create for whatever reason. So we've got it set to 2, so that they can only ever put 2 things out at the most on any one of these, the depots here. What that's going to do is it's going to make sure that this is always going to try to keep as much as it can within 64 or 62 of the stuff here, which means this arm is going to stay pretty busy. Now that's also made sure that I'm not holding more than a reasonably unnecessary amount of stuff sitting out here, so we're going to see what happens. We haven't cycled in a while, but everything seems to work. What that means is once this number in here drops below where it needs to drop, which is this number here, it's going to drop, then it's going to set one of these off to go to work, and it just barely fills it back up. So I keep doing this as a kind of a test. So there's a whole bunch of goodbye stuff. So that'll start ticking over there, put this in here. It's basically what it's doing is it's keeping this item collector empty when it doesn't need to have anything in it. So now it's going to process a whole bunch of yellow dye. And depending on how its dice rolls work, as far as its RNG for what it's going to make, it'll make up to about a stack and then maybe make a little orange dye, whatever, make another one, and then it'll get up to the point where it can't make any more yellow dye, so it'll stop. And then all that's going to do is fill up the specific flower in the top of it until it gets to the point it reaches over the number right about 19%. And then it'll drop. So like 1 or 2 more flowers. Or almost a stack. It should be almost a stack when it shuts off. Maybe a little less. Come on. There it dropped. Okay, so it dropped, which means we still have 56. We have room for that extra single flower. And then it'll put that in there as long as I leave room for that top stack. The top stack counts as part of what's in the actual inventory. As long as that top stack is not complete, anything that's left right here will be able to be placed into the machine where it will wait. I mean, it might not be 100% bulletproof, but it's working. We're over here making some more latex, and now that I've got that emptied, I can get rid of this and turn you on to go back to work, and you can start processing those. So I went ahead and threw a compactor in here. Compactor's entire job is just going to take 9 tiny dry rubber and turn it into 1 dry rubber that we will then eventually maybe go get a furnace, or maybe what I'll do is I'll import something else up into the top up there so that it can go get smelted, because that stuff works just perfectly fine the way that it goes. So I think the only thing I may do with this is build a control panel somewhere so that I can turn this on and off if I need to. But yeah, that's an awful lot of bone meal to leave in a deal, but like, I'm not really worried about it because I have a skeleton farm right there. And if I need bone meal, I just do this. And for that matter, it's faster to do it right here. So yeah, I don't know what we're. I hope that'll work. I'm again hoping that's going to do what we need to do, because I really need to start digging into some of these other mods. So industrial foregoing things and stuff. Actually, I would like to get into industrial foregoing so we can start doing a few more other things. I probably should look that thing up again. But our next major step with that one is a dissolution chamber. Dissolution chamber, which is going to allow us to play with the stuff that we get from the latex in order to be able to make better stuff, to include pink slime and pink slime ingots. So we need to start getting into this, because I need to start working on a mob factory, mob farm, so that we can start producing this, so that we can start getting into some of the better advanced machine frames. Granted, we're going to have to get the netherite scrap, but we need to be able to make these, which is going to require nether bricks and all those kinds of fun stuff, which is one of the reasons why we did that over there, which, I mean, I guess I could just start dumping those into something too. I mean, I do have them, but that may be something for later. Again, this episode is going to be kind of all over the place. It may be short given the fact that I have had plenty of time to do a few things. So again, I'm going to be working, I think, on trying to see about getting a skeletal bee. I don't know. I'll have to figure out how to make those guys happen. I know there's a way of doing it. I just got to figure out what it's going to be. I've done it before, and we may work on it either way. There are other ways of producing more dyes, and again, it's something else that we can work on. But for right now, as long as this maintains itself and keeps up with all of this stuff and keeps that up there happy, I really am not concerned about maxing that efficiency out any more than that. So, and this, again, it's off. It's working. So, I mean, here. No, that won't turn anything on. I don't even know what I'm doing. But yeah, we'll just have to see what happens. But that should function. Now, the other thought that I was thinking of while I was messing around with this, and if I really want to, it incurs more logistics and logic, and it also incurs more tools, is the double tall Botania flowers. Let's see if I can get one of those to show up really quickly. I think that's a mystical, blue flower, so we'll just say we'll use that one. If we take this flower and we progress it through its thing, and I do believe I'd probably have to, I'd have to craft it, I believe. Every one of these crafted will give you 4 petals, of which you can then grind, getting the dye that comes with the thing, which you can then put in the machine. The problem is this is a reaction of several things. You have to plant the petal, you have to bone meal the petal, and then you have to shear the plant and then repeat the process. So somewhere in there you're going to have to auto-craft this into this and then save enough of it so that it goes into the process of getting replanted. So it's something that I've done several times, and I think we could probably do it with what we have right now. Do we have XNet? We don't. Okay. It'd be something we could try. I don't think these are capable of doing it, and from what I have seen just testing with this process right here, I don't think Create could do it either, which means we would have to do it with Cyclic. And I know Cyclic can do it. So it'd be one of those deals that if we decide we need to do more, if I want to do more, I would have to add a layer of shears, something that we could use. Is that unstable shears? I don't think those are breakable. That'd be something we'd have to play with. But we'd have to add in shears as a way of being able to do things. So we'd probably have to build energetic shears, which would then have to make us mean we'd have to figure out how to charge those and then go on forward, or we could use these. But there's lots of different ways to make dyes, and I'm glad that this has been included because it's something that's kind of neat to kind of play with. And I know that's an awful lot of stuff just for that, but it's going to make lots and lots of power eventually. So we'll see how it all works. I think for now, I'm going to kind of just continue to watch it and make sure things are okay. But I think I will see you all in the next one. We're going to start playing with some more mods. I think we're going to either start messing with bees or messing with Botania next. So till then, thank you guys so much for watching. Bye.